Our headlines today. The Israeli military says Hamas has lost control of northern Gaza after intense fighting.
The Home Secretary accuses the Metropolitan Police of treating pro-Palestinian protests differently to demonstrations by right-wing groups.
Hollywood actors are returning to work after a deal was reached to end their 4-month-long strike.
Former employees of McDonald's in the UK are beginning legal action against the firm, accusing it of failing to protect them from abuse.
Good morning. It's beginning to feel a lot like Christmas. I know it's early November, but this year's adverts are already hitting our screens. Companies spending more than ever. But do they make a difference to sales? I'll be finding out.
It's Thursday morning. Let's have a look at the papers for you this morning. The Times leading on comments by the Home Secretary, Suella Braverman. In an article she has written for the paper, she reports she has accused the Met of playing favourites and taking a softer approach to protests by pro-Palestinian groups than those by right-wing groups. The Eye covers the reaction to those comments, suggesting that a growing number of Tories are concerned Ms Braverman's comments will inflame tensions and fuel anger on the far right.
The Sun reports that busy rail stations have been left without poppy sellers this year amid fears of more pro-Palestine protests. Its front page asks, where have all the poppies gone? And many papers, including The Telegraph, feature pictures of the Princess of Wales as she flies a drone whilst visiting British Army barracks in Norfolk.
A story in one of the science pages about research that's been done on tongue twisters. OK, so the idea is this is not particularly, no.
OK.
Stanford University's Dr. Brian, well, I'm going to get his wrong to start with, Brian Soffoletto, who's written a piece about tongue twisters and what they could be used for. So the idea is you get a saying like, a pickled pepper, Peter Piper picked a pickled pepper, phrase, OK?
Is that correct?
And you...
Is that correct?
Yes. And you... Just the one time. And you program it into your car, so there's a voice-activated thing on the lock, so that in case you're drunk, you say it to the car detects that you can't say it properly, won't allow you to drive. And what they did is they're testing... This is Stanford University. They gave people a weight-based alcohol dose, enough to intoxicate them, and then asked them over and over again to recite tongue twisters as they got more and more drunk. And not surprisingly, what they discovered was that people got worse at saying Peter Piper that.
Say it again.
The more they drank, the worse they got. Therefore, the car could detect it, not allow you into the car, stop people from drinking and driving. There you go, that's the theory.
So what if you're someone like you who can't say it?
I can.
Go on.
The other one, of course, is she sells seashells on the seashore.
The thing I have about this, right, is if you're the type of person who is going to drink and drive, you are not going to program this into your car to check if you drink and drive.
No, and also, clearly, if you think you might be, just don't drive. That's the very obvious thing to do, rather than stand there saying...
stupid things...
Peter Piper.
...to your car. They're just... Anyway, we'll see.
It's just research.
It's all an effort, isn't it?
Making the front pages of this morning's papers, and the Times leads on the Home Secretary, Suella Braverman, accusing the Met Police of playing favourites by refusing to ban the pro-Palestinian march. The Eye says that comments by the Home Secretary have led some Conservatives to accuse her of fuelling anger amongst the UK far right. The Metro says that the Prime Minister, Rishi Sunak, read the Riot Act to the Met Commissioner before confirming that Saturday's pro-Palestinian march in London would be allowed to go ahead. The Mail says Mr Sunak told Commissioner Sir Mark Rowley, who allowed the march, "On your head be it." The Express too says it was made clear to Sir Mark that he would take the blame if violence erupts. Meanwhile, The Sun reports that fears of possible violence have scared poppy sellers away ahead of Remembrance Sunday. Keir Starmer is fighting to keep control of the Labour Party over his stance on the conflict itself by refusing to call for a ceasefire. That's in The Guardian. The Mirror speaks to the mum of the latest young victim of knife crime on our streets, Alfie Lewis, as she asks why her son had to die. The Telegraph reports that a multi-million-pound legal action is being mounted against the developers of the Oxford-AstraZeneca COVID-19 vaccination over multiple claims that its effectiveness was vastly overstated. The Financial Times leads with the details of efforts to rescue Japanese investment group WeWork before it filed for bankruptcy in the United States. And finally, The Star tells us that evidence of Bigfoot or a Yeti has been found in a woodland in Wales. And if you want to see any of those front pages again or read the stories, you can scan the QR code on your screen.